with all these publishers and everybody pulling out, like the big hitters of everybody pulling out of E3, what is kind of the point of E3 at this, at this juncture?
A lot of people
that just broke the other day that, the last big guys said, nah, we're not going to do it either.
Yeah, it's not looking great for E3.
I think this kind of goes to what Brian Shea said earlier about the cable cutting costs, where everybody now has their own streaming platform. Same thing with the games. Like we started seeing even before the pandemic, the unraveling, if you will, of E3, where this year Xbox is not a part of it. Oh, this year Sony's not a part of it. And then it became the whole thing. It's like, well, we're going to do our own thing. We don't need that. And then you've got things like BlizzardCon and TwitchCon, and everybody now can put on their own conventions and apparently make a profit off of it. What's to stop Xbox from doing their own thing, Nintendo to do their own thing, Sony to do their own thing? You don't need to be there anymore. We thought this is going to happen with San Diego, remember? With the Disney merger of everything, that they'll do they did some of the announcements at San Diego, and then some of the announcements were at D23, and some of them were at Star Wars Celebration. They don't really need San Diego Comic-Con anymore, where it was the big TV reveal, movie reveal, all of that stuff. These all-in-one conventions, I think, not just the E3, but I think a lot of these all-in-one conventions are going to dissolve because everyone can just do it themselves.
Yeah, because like Microsoft looks at it and probably says like, LA, there's so many venues there, but we have the Microsoft Theater,
right.
like a block and a half away from the LA Convention Center where everybody's going to be for E3. We don't have to pay the E3 show floor prices. We can just have our own place in a theater that our name is on the front, and then people will be in LA anyway. We can just make an appointment for them. They have to walk, 5-6 minutes to get to us, and then that's it.
Or even, have you see the landscape for the Microsoft properties? They can just set up their own Coachella, have their own outdoor tent event with a stage and all that stuff, and just do it on property, eat all the costs, keeping it in-house, and just make $1 bazillion before the games are even out. Bazillions.
Yeah, because Nintendo switched to doing their Nintendo Directs, so they do that, every 3 months or something like that. And Sony's hasn't been at E3 pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So
Microsoft was doing their own thing for a while, too. Nintendo was really the last one that had, space on the show floor, but they still weren't doing, an E3 press conference, right? They were just doing their Nintendo Directs. And then when you went to E3, you could go to, the Nintendo booth, and they would have, a meeting room that you could go up, and then there was, lines you could wait in for if you were just, an attendee there. But if you had an appointment, they had a little private area that they would take you upstairs, and you would get to play all the new games. That's where I played Breath of the Wild for the first time. Was
that's awesome.
E3 2016, and I got to play, and I was like, that's okay, that's fine, I guess. I'm not really going to look forward to it that much. And then it ended up being my favorite game of all time. So it's so it is hard to also get a snapshot of what a game is like when especially a big sprawling game like that from a 30-minute play session. But yeah, E3 is it's going to be a tricky thing. And also there's Summer Game Fest happening that same week, which is a separate thing altogether run by Jeff Keighley, who does the Game Awards every December.
Right.
He did that last year because E3 did not happen last year. And he's like, fine, I'll fill that void. And he ended up hosting a thing, and I went to it, and it was a chill event. It was a small event space that he rented out, and it was great. And it was nice, and there was an open bar that you could just go to and bring a drink to your appointment, and it was a really chill environment, and they had waiters coming around with bottles of water and things you could pick off the tray as you were going to your event. It was a really nice, well thought out event.
Frankie in the chat saying sports reporters went through this as well. Not every sport reporter travels, so you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I mean, everything is, especially since 2020, everything has become increasingly digital, right? So many jobs these days are you can just work from wherever, whatever.
A lot of companies don't have an actual physical office to go to anymore. They just all right, on paper, we're a company, and you just work from home, and they do meetings and video chats and all that, and that's considered business nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a great cost saving method, but who knows if they'll actually pass that on to the employees? I doubt it.